So Janelle's making her move to North Carolina, and Meri's finally questioning whether her friendship with Robyn was ever real, and if she'll ever be able to rebuild a friendship with the wife of her ex-husband.
And Aurora is baptized in her own church, but Kody still uses the baptismal words from his previous church, the one he claims he no longer believes in. So why is he doing that? Is it habit, sentiment, or is he still trying to assert some kind of spiritual authority he no longer officially has?
That moment felt symbolic, like he can't fully let go of the faith, or maybe the role he had within it.
Let's dive in because there's a lot to unpack. Hey everyone, and welcome back. My name is Sam.
And I'm Melissa.
I was raised in a family with 4 moms and 35 kids. We were members of the FLDS Church, which is a polygamous group run by their prophet, Warren Jeffs, who is now serving a life sentence in prison.
I was raised mainstream LDS in Utah. Sam and I have been married for 10 years and have 2 awesome kiddos.
Yes, we do. And we are back at it with Sister Wives. They are back.
Yes, man, it felt like a really long break because it was just so sudden. I don't know. It felt like a long time. It was good though. We were able to get some big love done and do that. So if anybody still wants to see our reaction to all of that, I will leave a link above. Have a whole playlist now of the entire, all 5 seasons, which was a lot. I have to say, going from Big Love back to Sister Wives, where it's reality and there aren't 20 different storylines that are all fictional and insane, I was like, oh, actually, Kody Brown's family seems pretty chill after you've been watching the Henriksen family for a couple months.
Yeah, Sister Wives isn't quite as entertaining, let's just say that. But there were some things in this, which we'll get into, that now that we've seen both, we've seen the way Kody is, and we've seen the way Bill Henriksen is, there are some shocking parallels that they definitely do things that we can see either he's pulling from the show or they pulled it from Kody Brown, but it seems like Kody is pulling some things from Big Love.
Yes, it's very interesting. But I mean, first of all, we have to talk about Janelle. She is officially moved all the way to North Carolina. It's just fun to see her just be she just always had this attitude of just, I don't really care. I'm going to do my own thing. Christine even mentioned that. She's like, clear back, even when they were in Las Vegas home, she would just plan a trip and be like, I want to go do this, so I'm going to go do it. And Christine would be like, well, is Kody going with you? And Janelle was like, I don't know, maybe not. I don't care. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. And that's totally her attitude moving to North Carolina too.
Well, that's one of the reasons that Janelle, in the very beginning, was okay with the idea of plural marriage or polygamy. It's all because she felt like it was okay, because she didn't want to have to give someone all of this attention all the time. She liked her independence. From the very beginning, she talked about how much she loved it. And there was something going on before they even moved to Utah, where the family moved and she stayed behind to keep working and finishing some things up. And she just has always seemed perfectly okay just doing her own thing and being on her own.
Yes. And obviously, like, her and Christine are still close. Christine and David help her move across the country, help drive the truck. And, but the new endeavor, she's been wanting this piece of land for forever. She was the biggest believer in Coyote Pass. She has wanted to have kind of a farm life and enjoy a big piece of land. And oh my gosh, 165 acres though. Yeah. That there is a piece of land. Like, I was like, holy cow, I just couldn't get over the number. Like, every time they said it again, I'm like, that's so big.
Just so much, and so many trees, and just so much, and wildlife. And it definitely is making Coyote Pass look very small.
Yeah, Coyote Pass is so cute compared to the land that she now owns with bears on it.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. But it's really cool to see that she's able to go to this property for the first time, because she actually purchased it or started the ball rolling without even going, because she had to jump on it quick. But now she has Maddie and Maddie's husband and their kids and Christine and Dave all there to support her. So it's kind of cool to see that they are, at least a portion of the family is sticking together and being there for each other.
And being supportive. Yeah. So it's super cool to watch her go off and do that. I did have to point out, though, that on the drive, David said something that I thought, oh, that's so true. He said, you should never keep score in a marriage. And in polygamy, you have to keep score. And I was like, ooh, that is a very interesting point. And so they kind of like talked about that with each of the wives and with Kody, you know, in interviews and stuff, and how they each feel about that. And it's so true that in a regular marriage, and I think Kody even said this, we'll give him a little bit of credit where credit's due, but he was like, when you're united, you give each other grace, you are there for each other. I think David said, like, you always give 100, and if somebody's lacking that day, like, you're there to make up the difference, right? It has to be a full 100 relationship. And plural marriage immediately means that that's divided up.
Right.
And they just talked about the jealousies that come with that, the comparing of maybe they have a nicer couch or they have a nicer this or nicer that constantly.
And if it's not the wives comparing, then it is the husband. The husband has to constantly be making sure that he does the same for this wife so that this other wife, you know, doesn't feel left out or feel less special. So he is constantly having to think about this comparison to make sure that there's not this jealousy amongst the wives, which we all know Kody did not do a good job at that because he just said, yeah, I'm just going to give all of my attention to one wife. So, and that's why we are here today. But it's true though. You have to be thinking about the comparison in polygamy, period.
Yeah. And you can see like in other different polygamous families, like so many shows we've seen where the husband, like especially Valentine's Day, everyone always says Valentine's Day was not meant for polygamous families because it's like they have to get the right flowers, but they need to be similar in size. They have to be similar in price, but they also have to be different enough to feel special for each wife so that they don't feel like they're just copying and pasting. So the husband has to think of all these different aspects, but make sure that it's like all closely same at the same time.
Exactly. I'm starting to realize why any holidays that required gift giving in my family growing up just were not celebrated.
So it wasn't just that they were pagan holidays. It was, you know what? This life would be a lot easier if I don't have to give 4 wives Christmas gifts.
Exactly. Because the holidays like the 4th of July, Independence Day, we celebrated that. I mean, this was before Warren Jeffs took everything away. But growing up as a small boy, we celebrated that. We celebrated a couple other holidays, but never any that required gift giving.
Yeah.
So I know that they would say, oh, it's because it's not really, Christmas isn't really when Jesus was born, and they had the reasons for it, but I'm starting to wonder if it was more about not having to equally give to everyone.
Yeah, and then not only is there the comparison between, like you said, the wives comparing and then the men having to give certain gifts and stuff, but there's also the comparison of living up to the husband's expectations, which they talked about. You know, Christine talked a lot about Kody liking them being presentable and always having makeup on and having nice clothing, and that she felt like, you know, while they'd be camping, her and Janelle would be working really hard making breakfast, and Robyn would be putting on makeup, and Robyn would get praised for that. So it was like their appearances were more important to Kody than the amount of effort they were putting into the family. And that would be another thing that I think it would be hard to not constantly compare in those ways. Or wonder if, oh, I don't have makeup on today. Today I'm a hot mess. But then if your husband could go over and there's someone who's perfectly ready for him every time, how could you not feel insecure?
Yeah. And
yikes.
Oh, man. I don't know what to think about that. Just the idea that Kody is always feeling like his wives have to be presentable, and it even goes back to before he was in plural marriage with Meri. She said that in the beginning he would go buy her nice clothes and things to wear. However, she did say he never pushed it on her.
Yeah,
so
she didn't feel the same way Christine did, I think.
Right. And Christine had some insecurities, rightfully so, because of the way Kody was treating her about her appearance and that Kody wasn't attracted to her and those kinds of things. So maybe things weren't said, but things were felt in Christine's case, because sometimes you almost hear things that you think you would hear if they would only say it, but in reality it's just the actions that speak loud.
Yeah, but then the double standard. So he wants them all to be like that, but then, you know, if he takes care of his body, then that's all Janelle wants. All Janelle wants. I was just a piece of meat to her. That was it. With the fact that he was like trying to correct them when they showed the video of him saying she just wants me for my rock hard abs. He's like, no, they're not rock hard. They are.
They're washboards.
Washboard abs.
They're washboard.
There's a difference. And he like kept going with it seriously. I was waiting for him to be like, that's embarrassing. I should never have said that. That's so silly. And instead he like was running with it.
He said so many things that I don't even know how it had anything to do with anything. He reminded us all that he is a man of flesh and bones. Yay, good for you, Kody.
Yeah.
And then saying that Janelle only wanted him for his body, and that's it. Like she didn't want any husband or emotional attachment. It was just about his body.
Yeah.
Wow.
But if she wants a piece of meat, I know Christine and David are going to be making her that profile on Farmers Only, right? So maybe Janelle will get a guy with actual abs. We'll see. We'll see.
Oh my gosh.
But another thing that was big in this episode was Meri talking about her relationship with Robyn, and just, we've all seen it, so I'm not going to go super deep on it. We watched it happen, right? We watched them start off with what seemed to be a good friendship, and then it continually getting to where it didn't feel like the efforts were matching up. And I think, like Meri even says to her friend, like, I don't know if it was intentional on Robyn's part. I think Robyn having little kids and a whole bunch of kids and Meri having none at home can cause divides. Like, you're going to naturally connect with people who are in similar situations with you. It's so hard to find good mom friends, right? And you think that you would go, okay, well, if they care about my kids, I'm going to go and try to make an effort to have them play at their house. But if they don't have kids, your kids same age, I can see how that wouldn't happen the way that you would want it to. Like, I don't know. So I kind of agree with Meri that I don't know if it was all intentional on Robyn's part to try to make that separation, but it was very clear that it happened.
Well, and what was intentional, and the whole drifting apart is perfectly okay. That happens all the time in friendships and relationships and whatever else. That's okay. But what was intentional is Robyn sobbing about the relationship between her and Meri falling apart, and how it was just this most sad and horrible thing when she had just as much, if not way more, to do with the separation than Meri did. So that's where that was intentional from her part.
COVID was intentional. Meri was doing all the things.
Yes.
And you would think that Robyn would be like excited to have a sister wife help with all the kids. She's like, I was homeschooling all these kids. I was doing that. I get it being overwhelming, but if you have someone who's willing to be a part of your tribe and follow all the same rules and do all the things, if you love having your sister wives so much, why weren't you like, hey, Meri, why don't you move in? Not that she would have moved in, but Meri, why don't you come over more and help me with the kids and do this and do that? I think Meri would have been all over that.
Yeah. But now it's Meri's fault that she doesn't want to have this amazing relationship and be best friends with Robyn.
Yeah.
Now it's Meri's fault after all of this.
Well, it hurt Robyn's feeling that Meri said, I don't know how to be friends with my ex-husband's wife.
Yeah. And she said, what did she say to that? That she doesn't see it that way, and that she said, but it's harder to have a relationship amongst sister wives, so I don't understand why that would be hard for Meri.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason that you're not all sister wives anymore, right? It's the relationship didn't work. Why do you think the relationship between the three of you in this threesome of you and Kody and now Meri that is no longer married to either of you, why would that work? It just doesn't seem like there's anything there that would, aside from Robyn's kids, that's the only thing that Meri did say. She does wish she could have that relationship with them. But of course, as we see in this episode, the kids are all about Kody and Robyn and how amazing their relationship is.
Yes, because they are determined they're in awe of their parents because they believe their parents are soulmates. Mm-hmm. And that was another topic that got brought up a lot, was the idea of calling them soulmates, and how Robyn, clear back in the beginning of being with Kody, said that Kody was her soulmate. And she was like, but then I realized how wrong that was that I said it. And Kody was talking about how flattered he was. And the reality is that everybody saw that they obviously had a deep connection. And then he basically wanted to be in monogamy with Robyn, right?
Yeah.
And Robyn can pretend like she's not happy about that, but she obviously thought Kody was her soulmate right from the beginning as well. And I think it was Janelle who said, like, she's from a plural family, so you think she would have been more cautious with that idea that it would be okay to have just one wife be a soulmate and the other one's not, or to use that kind of language. But the heart wants what it wants, and now they have each other.
Yeah, and I'm just shocked. I'm sitting here in shock because of how nonchalantly Kody talks about how the moment he met Robyn, he knew, and she was his soulmate, and they're just so happy together now, and yada, 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 all these things, which hey, a happy relationship is fantastic. I love a happy relationship. But the problem here is that he spent how many years trying to claim, oh, no, I'm treating them all equally. They're the same to me. They're all my wives. I love them equally. They're not a blah, 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 blah. Plural marriage is amazing. And now it's just so, it's just so obvious that he was lying all this time about it. And of course, we know that Robyn must have been lying about certain things as well, because she's been going along with this soulmate type relationship, and she even said it in the beginning.
Yeah, and it's apparent that behind closed doors, obviously, their kids see that relationship as well, right? That they see these two loving parents that are in love with one another, and they've seen the train wreck of what polygamy can do. So even though Robyn said she felt like they failed because none of the kids wanted to be members of their church. She's like, we failed. We didn't include God enough. None of our kids want to join our church. But Aurora did choose to get baptized in a Christian church in Flagstaff.
Yeah, so that was interesting. We got to see that, and they all talked about, especially Kody talked about how different the baptism was there as opposed to the way that he was raised and baptized, and all of his wives in Mormonism. Yeah. And within Mormonism, there is a very specific way to go about baptism. Yeah. Only a man that is holding the priesthood, the power given from God to men on this earth, in other words, can baptize someone. And there are very strict rules. Kody talked about how if a hair pops up or a toe pops up out of the water, you have to redo it. And those types of things, they're very
reverent,
particular, yes.
In a baptismal font. Mm-hmm. Even the people who watch, it's very, very quiet and very reverent. And the fact that, again, I think we've mentioned this before, but within Mormonism, authority is very important, because the idea that the priesthood was given to Joseph Smith from angels coming down and giving, from Christ's disciples or apostles, given directly to Joseph Smith, and that lineage, like every man who holds the priesthood within Mormonism can trace their lineage back to Joseph Smith getting the priesthood, right? So that authority matters a lot. And when Kody was saying that he found out that he was allowed to baptize Aurora, even though he's not a part of their church, that it was whoever she wanted to, he was like, okay, I'm allowed to do that. They'll just let anybody baptize anyone. The idea that there wasn't an authority line that had to be held to is a huge deal. And instantly, for me, it definitely makes me kind of go back a little bit too. And I'm like, actually, that's kind of cool. But being raised in Mormonism, it's hard to think of there not having the authority.
Right, because it was so ingrained in our minds. And me growing up in the FLDS church, it was the same way for me as well. The baptism was done using the exact same word for word as it's done in the mainstream LDS church, and the words that Kody whispered to his daughter's ears when he baptized her. So they're in this non-denominational Christian church.
There's a rock band playing.
I'm not sure exactly which church it is, but they're there. He's baptizing her, and he whispers in her ear the same words that they use in Mormonism in some roundabout way, pulling on that authority, that priesthood, which he knows he no longer has because he's not worthy of it. That's the word that they would use.
They would use within the church.
Because if you're not doing specific things, then you no longer hold the priesthood. It is taken from you. And Joseph Smith himself even taught about that your priesthood would be removed if you don't follow certain things.
And you'd lose that authority.
Yeah. And but he still did that. And that kind of took me back to Big Love and how Bill would do things using that authority when he clearly wasn't even a part of any specific religion. He was just saying, oh, hey, this is how I want it to be. Therefore, hey, I'm going to say what I want to say and pretend that I have the authority to do it. So once again, having this authority, the only reason we're making a big deal about it is because Kody comes from Mormonism. So he knows what big deal it is to have that proper authority and be worthy of it.
Yeah. So in Mormonism, that's pretty blasphemous to utilize or use the words that you would need authority for in an unworthy way or in a different church at all. So it was very interesting. Also, you got to wonder, depending on where he is in his deconstruction journey and how much he believes in that authority can also make a huge difference in whether or not he was just saying it as comfort, or maybe because that's all when he thinks of baptism, that's all he knows, right? So maybe he wasn't trying to be blasphemous. He just was like, this is a baptism. These are the words I know what to say. These still feel like the right words to say to her now. So he's baptizing her. But from the view of like his past religion and from Mormonism, it felt shocking to me when he said that. I was like, you did not.
Right.
You did that?
Yeah. But I mean, sometimes in a lot of cases when people aren't sure, they're kind of in this gray area, they fall back onto what they used to believe. That's very common.
Yeah.
It's like people that leave a religion, and let's say they're trying to still lead their family in righteousness and they're trying to be religious and these things. They only know one way of being religious, and that is what they came from. So what they got used to saying in prayers or when asking God of something, that's what they fall back on. So it's not surprising, but because we were raised in Mormonism as well, hearing that someone would use those words in that setting just stood out to us.
Yes. But speaking of things that you might just fall back into, because at one point Robyn said that plural marriage is a scary topic now between them, right? And it's still interesting, like when cameras are on, it seems like Robyn is still kind of uncomfortable talking about that, or that like her and Kody are finally getting in a better place. But it does make me wonder, and they kind of teased at the end that in the future they're going to be having this talk. But I turned to Sam and I was like, with her saying that they failed by not having God in their lives and their kids aren't picking their religion, and they feel like they've failed in certain ways. Kody has said that he doesn't believe in his past religion, but he's still using the same words for baptism. Are they going to try to like reconcile that their faith or go back to their church in a way and try to live plural marriage again in order to prove themselves like worthy or going back to their original beliefs?
Yeah, because Kody even said when they were at this dinner to celebrate Aurora being baptized, he said something along the lines of, he did this toast and he said, even though it's not what I believe or what I wanted, I'm proud that you found what you wanted. And something about that hit me weird. You would, if you want your daughter to feel proud of a decision that she made, maybe don't start off by saying, hey, I want to raise a toast and say, you're not doing what I want you to do, but I'm glad you're happy, right? So clearly, though, my point in saying this is that Kody clearly still believes in his past beliefs, religious beliefs, and doesn't really believe in what Aurora now believes in. So I don't know. It's just interesting to see Kody's conflict with religion in general.
Yes, but leave in the comments. That is my question for all of you. Do you think that when this conversation does come up, do you think that they are going to try to go back to their past religion, or they're going to say, nope, we're done with it altogether? Because Kody has gone back and forth a little bit. You see moments of each side. Robyn seems to never have wavered that she believes that the church that they came from is true. I don't think there's been a single time. Everybody else at this point has like kind of left. Robyn's been the only one who's stayed pretty true to the fact that she still believes in plural marriage, that she still believes in that church. She seems the most like hesitant towards Aurora. Like she's happy for her daughters, but you could tell she really feels like she wants them all to belong to her church.
Right.
So in order to keep that church happy, is she going to try to pull Kody in?
Yeah.
To plural marriage again. Let us know what you think.
Let us know what you think. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us again, and we look forward to talking with you soon.
Talk to y'all soon.